Hello, welcome to Rusal Reads. I'm Deja, and today we are going to do the mid year book Freakout tag. It seems like I am the last person to do this tag, and I debated on whether or not I was going to do this tag just because the reading has not been going so well this year, but I have been doing this tag for the last few years that I've had my channel, so I figured I would go ahead and do it. Plus, I think that it's a nice reset just for reflecting on how the year has been going in terms of your reading. So let's just go ahead and get into this video. The first thing that I want to start off with is just like how my reading has been going so far. Like I said, I don't think that it has been the strongest year. I've read around 23 books so far this year. Most of those have been less than like 300 pages just because I have just not been in the mood, but I just still want to read something. So most of them are more novella length or they are comics or graphic novels. So there's that. So far, I have DNF 12 books, which I thought that it would be a lot more. But honestly, I think that's because some of the books that I completed, I probably should have DNF them. But that's neither here nor there. So now that we have those stats out of the way, the first question that we have for this tag is the best book that we've read so far this year. And honestly, my answer is just by default because it's the highest rating that I've given a novel so far this year, and that is Ambessa by C.L. Clark. Now, I say it's by default because this is the only novel so far that I've given 4 stars. Everything else has been below that, which is wild to me. I know I'm pretty like stingy with like my 5 stars, but like a lot of the books that I've been reading haven't even gotten to like the 4 star status except for this one. If you don't know what this book is about, Ambessa is a character in the Arcane world, and Arcane is a TV show that debuted on Netflix a few years ago, I want to say. And Ambessa is this like warrior queen character, and in this book we are diving more into that character with basically trying to get the throne. There's a lot of political things happening, a lot of family drama relationships, and just a lot of things happening. And I did enjoy my time. I thought that the pacing was a little bit off, but overall, I thought that this was a decent fantasy book. The next question is the best sequel that you've read so far this year, and I will have to give this to the Death Note manga series for volume 10 and 11. I just really enjoyed these. Now, they weren't like my favorite in the entire series, but like I think that Death Note 10 and 11 were really like picking up the pace in terms of just the thriller aspects of like who's going to catch who and just trying to outsmart each other that I really enjoyed in the earlier parts of the series. So I really enjoyed those two. Volume 12 wasn't necessarily my favorite, but 10 and 11 definitely had me on my toes, wanting to keep reading the series. Now, this third question is a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. And honestly, I could say almost all of my anticipated new releases, like, there were some that, like, after hearing, like, reviews about them, that I just didn't, like, want to pick up anymore. But there's still quite a few that I have not gotten to yet, and I guess my top answer for this one would be The Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda. I had this book from the library. I did. And because of the slump, like I just could not get myself to pick it up. But this is still one of my most anticipated ones. I still really want to read this one just because I want to be back in the world of Wakanda. I love the way that Suyi Davies Okungbowa writes Nigerian inspired worlds. And even though Wakanda is made up, I still think that Suyi Davies Okungbowa is going to bring those cultural aspects to the story that I really enjoy. So I really need to pick this up. I'm really hoping that I pick it up before the end of the year. Along those same lines, the next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for this one, I have 2 answers. So the first one is The King Must Die by Kemi Ashing-Giwa. This is a science fiction novel by an author that I have read before and that I've had like mixed experiences with, but I'm really excited for this one just to be more in a sci-fi world and to explore more of the politics in this sci-fi world. I am very intrigued with this one, and I really love the cover too. So I'm really hoping that this will be the best work that I've read by Kemi Ashing-Giwa. I'm really hoping. The second book that I have for my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year is The River and the Star by Gabriella Romero Lacruz. I believe that's the author. And this one is the sequel to The Sun and the Void. And while I know there was like some controversies around it and like people not really like enjoying it, I did enjoy the first one. I of course had issues with like the pacing, but I still was very curious to see like where this second book is going to go. Very curious to follow these characters again because that was like one of my favorite parts. I really liked the dynamics between the characters, and I thought that the world was like pretty cool. It is a Venezuelan inspired fantasy world, so I really enjoy exploring that. So yeah, I am anticipating this one. Next, we have The Biggest Surprise. And this one is a graphic novel that I read on KU when I had it, and that is Artifice. I want to say that this is a sci fi romance, and we're following this character that has been programmed basically to kill this entire staff, but for one reason or another, he doesn't kill one person on the staff, and so we're going through the story of like why he doesn't. And it's a love story between a soldier that was supposed to kill somebody and the person that was supposed to be killed. And I don't know. It was a surprise to me because I did not expect myself to like it as much, but I got all the feels like reading it. I thought it was very interesting to explore the human emotion of love from somebody that's like programmed just to like kill. So yeah, it was just a very fascinating read to me. Next, we have The Biggest Disappointment. And after some thought, because there was two books that I was thinking of for this one, I decided to give it to Blood Slaves. And yeah, like the level of disappointment that I have for this book is wild. Like I just wow. I did like a whole little mini rant in my last vlog, which I'll link up above, but like this book was so disappointing. It does not give you the vengeance that I think that it really promises. Granted, I will say I DNF'd this at 45% because I just could not anymore. But definitely read reviews that speak on like the content warnings and just give you a better explanation on like what to expect going into this. And I think maybe if I would have known going into this book that it was less about like the vampires and the vengeance and more about the brutality of being an enslaved person in America, then I probably would have never picked this up. But yeah, if you're interested on my thoughts of it, like I said, I will have that linked above and down below. Next is my favorite character, and my favorite character is actually Hosea from The Record Keeper. I feel like from his first introduction in this book, he just kind of intrigues me, but as we kept going on in the book, like I just really enjoyed him. And honestly, I feel like it's just because like he's not like a typical male character that you would see in a kind of book like this. Like I feel like he has a lot more like depth to him. He's definitely a character that can like fight and use like swords and stuff, but like the difference between him is that he doesn't really want to. He really does want to have like more peaceful methods. He studies medicine to like help the people and tries to be a little bit more like diplomatic in like his approaches and things and trying to resolve conflict, which I find very fascinating. But he's also very much like, if I have to fight, like I will. So yeah, I just found him a very interesting character. And it was just like a nice change of pace to see like a male main character that's not like a typical character that we see these days. Like I don't know, I still think about him. Even though I never finished the book. Like I still think about Hosea. So definitely a character that I really enjoy. So this next prompt is favorite new author, and I do not have one. Most of the books that I've read this year have been authors that I've read before, or they are books by new authors, but like I didn't necessarily love those books. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they were like favorite new authors. I do want to try a lot more new authors in the second half of the year, but I don't know, we'll see. Along the same lines of not having an answer for the prompt is a book that made me cry, and yeah, I don't have one. I don't think any book made me even feel remotely emotional. And again, like books that made me happy, eh, I mean, it's been such a mediocre year that like I just nothing's really like eliciting emotions for me in a lot of these books. So Yeah. So this next question is the most beautiful book that you own or purchased this year. And for this one, I will have to give it to A Song of Legends Lost. This is the Illumicrate edition, and I'm in love with this. Oh my gosh. Like, I did like a little unboxing in that same vlog where I had like the rant about blood slaves, but oh my gosh, like I just love this so much and I cannot wait to read this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to read this fairly soon just because I'm so in love with like how it looks. So, yeah, this is definitely the most beautiful book that I purchased this year. And the last question for this tag is what books do you have to get to before the end of the year? And like always, I feel like I never really know how to answer this question because I want to get to everything. Like there's just never enough time to read all of the books that I want to read. And I just, oh my gosh, I don't know how to answer this question. But just to provide an answer, I have two authors that I do want to read more from. The first is Octavia Butler. I think I have some of her books like behind me over here. I really want to read more Octavia Butler. I at least want to complete the Parable of the Sower duology and potentially read a few more books by Butler. I also want to read more Jemison this year. Jemison is one of my favorite authors, and I don't usually give favorite author status to an author that I've only read one book from, but like the fifth season did a number on me. So automatically, a favorite author status was provided on N.K. Jemisin, but I need to read more by N.K. Jemisin. So I do want to complete the Broken Earth trilogy. I just have the two books left to read, and they're right behind me. I have them, so I should be able to complete those, but really hoping to complete that trilogy this year. But that wraps up all the questions for this tag. It has been an interesting first 6 months of the year, but I'm very excited for the next half of the year. My reading slump is gone, so I feel more in the mood to pick up more things, and I'm definitely happy that I'm more in the mood to read more fantasy and sci-fi. Like I feel like I've been in a fantasy sci-fi slump for the longest, and now like I just feel the urge to pick up way more of those books. So I feel like it's going to be a great second half of the year just to explore new worlds, explore new authors, and yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very curious to know how your reading has been so far this year. Have you been more in like a slump this first half of the year, like a lot of people that I know? Or has it been going well for you? Definitely let me know in the comments. But if you don't want to do that, you can also just leave whatever emoji I put on the screen just to let me know that you are here. But I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.